Voice reveal. A lot of you have asked for mix tutorials, drum tone tutorials, guitar tone tutorials, whatever. So I thought I would deliver. I'm gonna be walking you through the mix of my latest video, which is the rekak demo. If you haven't heard it, here's how it sounds like. This mix walkthrough series is going to be split into 3 separate videos. First one, which is this one, is going to be session routing, master bus, mix bus processing, and drums. Second episode is going to be bass. Third episode is going to be guitars. Before we jump into the mix, I just wanted to say, do not copy these settings one-to-one. Learn from them instead. Copy the concept, not the settings. And also join my Discord server. I'm copying Blake Harrison now. Go check him out if you don't know him. With that out of the way, I think we can start. Session routing. We have rhythm guitar bus, we have bass bus, and we have drums bus going into the mix bus. And only that is going into the mix bus. Do not send vocals. Specifically, do not send vocals to your mix bus, because it will overcompress the entire mix. You can get away with sending post-production to the mix bus, but I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, everything else that is not drums, bass, and rhythm guitar is going straight to the master. I have stems printed here because this mix consumes a lot of my CPU. All right, first up is the master bus chain. On my master, I have Saturn, adds some nice body to the sound. Second in the chain is Soothe. Here's how it sounds like. Off, on. Smooths out the mix a bit. I would not recommend going over this line, because it will start to sound very artifacty. Next up is a clipper. I'm using G-Clip. It's just to get the sound a bit louder before the limiter. I recommend you turn your volume down, because it's gonna get pretty loud. Yeah, what this is doing is it's getting the sound louder, and it's cutting off the unnecessary sharp peaks coming from the drums. Next up is Pro L, default settings. For even more loudness, I'm going to be showcasing the rest of the mix without the clipper and the limiter on, so it doesn't fart. Next up is the mix bus chain. I've temporarily turned off the Saturn and Soothe from the master. First in the list, VMR, virtual mix bus, Brit N setting, and just boosting some high end on a Pultec. Without, with. Might be doing a bit too much of this. Not too sure. It sounds good though. FG Gray. This is one of the most important parts. Really glues the whole package together. You can hear without it, the snare is unbearably pokey. With it, it glues right into the mix. These are the settings I have. Attack, the lowest, release the lowest. Threshold doesn't matter, you need to set this according to your mix. Ratio is at 4. High pass is at 100 Hertz. No makeup gain. And you're aiming for about like 3 to 4 dBs of gain reduction when the snare hits. You can, of course, break the rules. You don't need to go as much as 3 or 4. You can also go more if it sounds good. This is just what worked for me. Yeah, 3, 4 about. Next up in the chain is VTM. I'm mixing into this because it adds a lot of low end to the sound. Without, it sounds like this. With, it sounds like this. Adds back that missing low end. I'm gonna turn the Saturn into the on now. Alright, here's how the drums sound in solo. What I aim for in a drum sound is a nice, punchy kick sound. For a snare, I like a fat and present sound. Not much mids in it. For toms, it's the same thing as the kick. Punchy and lots of click. For the cymbals, I like a really clear and defined sound, yet glued into the mix and not harsh. On the drum bus, I have virtual mix rack with the monster compressor. Yeah, 22%. About like 10 dB, more or less. Pretty subtle. I don't like to go too hard on it. Alright, parallel buses now. Let me explain what is going on here. I have my tracks, kick room, snare room, toms, tom room, and cymbals, sending to these parallel buses in different amounts. This is how the verb sounds like by itself. You can see how much I'm sending from each channel to this track. Minus 15 dBs on the kick, minus 8 on the kick room. I like to send more rooms to my reverb than close mics. Here's how it sounds without any effects. Here's with the reverb on. I'm using lustrous plates. It's just the default preset, but with the frequency dispersion turned down. You can hear that snare attack is coming through way too much. So what I do is I put a limiter before the reverb. It is really vital to this type of reverb sound. And I have an EQ just turning down a lot of low end because the reverb was adding way too much. Dry. This is just the shells and cymbals with no effects. Here are the volumes. Everything is just at 0. Attack bus. What I want from this parallel bus is a nice punchy attack, but not like too sharp of a transient. This is how much I'm sending to this bus. No effects, it sounds like this. First in the chain, distressor. You want to go for a lot of compression because it's, well, a parallel bus. It's also really important to send these tracks at different volumes. If I didn't mention, I have dementia. And a limiter to shave off those like really sharp transients from the snare and possibly other drums. I think it's mostly the snare. I think I'm shaving off a bit too much. I would go for like -3 dBs of attenuation instead of 6. Alright. Sustain. Similar levels to the attack. I am using this compressor. Really nice fat compressor. It was free for a little bit, so I grabbed it. I love free stuff. Fastest attack, fastest release. Now, distortion. This is how much I'm sending. Here's how it sounds like. Here's how it sounds like with no effects on it. I'm gonna engage the Saturn first so you can hear what I'm hearing. Over distorting it on purpose. Then ducking down some low end and the fundamental of the snare. It was a bit too muffled. I have this EQ now. What this is doing is basically just isolating the like mid-range of the sound. Do not under any circumstances use any filters with a slope above 6 dB per octave to avoid phase cancellation with the other parallel buses. Here's how it sounds like without, with. Just want the mids of the sound. Alright, let's move on to kick. I'm gonna mute the reverb for now. Here's how the kick sounds like in solo. Really nice fat kick sound. This is the processing I'm doing on the individual samples. This is the 26-inch kick from Modern and Massive. First in the list is a gate. Trim it a bit. Next up is a tone match. Now next is this wild looking EQ. This will make sense later. Next on the list, kick from Invasion, the like blue one. I think. Let me. Yes, this is the Pearl Masters Birch 22x16 kick. All right, first in the list is this EQ without, with. It removes some of the annoying mid-range. This same wild looking EQ. Now, the kick trigger. This is a blend of these two samples. It's probably really low. I'll boost the volume of these in post because it's really low for me. These two samples have a similar low end, so it doesn't like interfere. Please make sure that the samples you are blending in trigger have a similar low end if you want to have this type of fat buster kick sound. First in the list is this EQ. I just mainly want the low end from this kick trigger. Right, to explain this freaking EQ, this is just phase alignment on the low end. All pass filter has changed how the low end sounds of the sample, how the sample sounds in general. It just makes it sound more like dubstep. So with these all pass filters off, it sounds like this. Pretty freaking bad sounding. But with these on, that low end is much more apparent, much more dubstep-y, if that makes sense. There's also a 6 dB per octave filter on here, because I don't want, I want most of the low end to be coming from the trigger. Kick bus chain. First on the list is this EQ filter. And some high-end stuff. C4. Gives it a more phasey character. Compression. Soul attack, fast release, about 2 dB of compression. I wouldn't recommend more, since it's gonna jump out of a mix a bit too much. Saturn. Worm tube. Crunches it up really nicely. Shep's parallel particles for even more phasiness. And some sub. I thought it was missing a bit. R bass. Gives it a deeper low end sound. It also adds a bit of a phasey character to the sound, along with all the other stuff in the chain. Pro MB, thought it needed some low end punch. This is triggering off the high end. Slow attack, fast release, soothe. This tames some of the annoying click from the sound. Kick room. This is gonna be pretty similar on all of the room channels. I have a tone match here because I'm lazy. Saturn. Obviously a volume difference, but it saturates it a bit as well, I think. Kramer Pi. Really nice compressor for rooms. 5 dB of compression. I would do a bit more, like 7. Arguably the most important part of a mix now, the snare. Let's go over the samples first. This is Guru Zebrano snare for Modern and Massive. This is the overhead channel for Modern and Massive. I'm using this instead of the snare bottom. Alright, snare one shot. I just rendered this out from Auto Home Drums. That is the, yeah, it's the lower one shot from there. EQ. Removing some mids. I want to use this for the low end sound. Alright, Phase alignment, I am using this instead of auto line. I'll turn this on once everything is in. This is Pearl Sensitone snare. Shortened a lot. So is this, forgot to mention. Wait, that's in the settings. Yeah, here. EQ. Phase alignment as well. The EQ on the Zebrano snare is this. Removing some mids, removing that really ugly ring sound. Overhead. Had some annoying mids, needed a lot of high end. All these samples together sound like this. They sound good with the phase adjustment. Damn! First on the list from the snare bus is this EQ. Compression. Slow attack, fast release, 6 dB of compression. VTM, removing that ugly transient. Giving it some more low end as well. Fab filter Saturn. Fab filter Saturn again, but only on the high band. Thought it needed some more of that stuff. Soothe. Just smoothing it out a bit. And a final EQ. Filter, removing even more of that ring, adding more high end, less mids. The fundamental was a bit too loud as well. Now, hear me out. This sounds quite bad in solo, but it works in the mix. These were moves I was making in the mix. Alright, snare room. And the snare room bus. This EQ. First snare room is just from Modern Massive. Saturn. Kramer Pie. This is just the room from Auto Home Drums. This little EQ. Next is this. This EQ, Saturn, and Kramer Pie. Can't bother to show it on and off anymore. There's not enough time. I'm also removing a bit of the attack from this room because, yeah, that it has a lot of attack. Toms. Let's find a tom part. These are the Yamaha Recording Custom toms. Here's what I have on the bus. Tone match. Sheps. EQ with nothing on it for that extra warmth. And Saturn. I can just remove this. Not doing anything. On each of the toms, I have a gate and some EQ. Oh, wrong menu. Yeah, similar looking EQs on each one of these. Tom room. EQ. Saturn. Graham Pi. Cymbals. These are the modern and massive cymbals. Hi-hat. I'm doing this EQ and some soothe. Alright, ride. L2 and an EQ. Very important not to put soothe on the ride close mic. You want it to ring through the mix. Right, overheads. Pro Q, Pro MB, some soothe. I don't like to over EQ my cymbals because it can get very unnatural sounding. Cymbal rooms. What I want from this is like an explosive cymbal sound. Pro Q4. Pro MB. Kramer Pi. Some soothe. Cymbals bus. Spectral compressor. Smoothing out the sound a bit. And an EQ. Yeah, that's it. Next episode is gonna be bass. Christ is King. Bye.